Welcome to yet another unusual recipe from our collection of heterogeneous culinary goodies. The recipes we demonstrate here have been gleaned from an assortment of unusual sources. A few days ago I felt the urge to try something new and different, so randomly picked up our copy of Isabella Beeton's Book of Household Management, published in 1889. The perfect place to look for some more unusual recipes. Of course, a lot of people are familiar with Mrs. Beeton's cookery book, which of course is a very much simplified and modern version of the original. When I happened upon this recipe for a bachelor's pudding, I thought I'd heard this name before somewhere, and sure enough, when investigating that little book of Victorian recipes I'd bought from Amazon a while back, there it was on page 100. Interestingly, the author mentions that a number of similar variants had been found over the years from different locations, suggesting it may well have been published somewhere at some point. Mystery solved, methinks. Therefore my decision on what to make was made. Here's the ingredients I used, with measurements in metric for those used to modern measurements. I've listed everything here in case anybody wants to take a screenshot of them now in order to try out the recipe themselves. So here are our ingredients for our bachelor's pudding. We start off with 4 slices of bread, 1 large cooking apple, 6 ounces or 170 grams of currants, 3 medium eggs, 3 ounces or 85 grams of granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice and 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. First and foremost, 4 slices of bread. Now, there are several ways of grating bread. For example, using a traditional grater like this. We have something that works pretty fast. That's called a food processor. And actually just using this standard blade, which is just a sort of common garden blade you can use for just about everything, that works extremely well. But we're using it later on for the apple as well. If you want to use a grater, great, but as we happen to have that machine, let's put that behind us for a bit. Okay, so we're going to have to do it in 2 batches. So we'll start off with the 2 slices. The sort of bread, it's up to you what you use. I just bought an inexpensive what should we say, brown loaf for this. You could probably use white. I'm not so sure it would make a great deal of difference what you used. So let's turn it on. It's actually quite surprising just how quickly this thing does it. That's our second one. Yeah, by magic we've done 2 lots. So we take the blades out. I say we'll be using this machine shortly for doing the apples, because once again, if you're going to grate apples, well, obviously we start off by paring and coring it by using a conventional thing. Yeah, this is an ordinary potato peeler, nothing special in it at all. So we start off by doing this, and then chop it up and put it on a plate. So here we go. Now, once again, I don't think there's any point, we're using the same blade, note, any point in trying to do the whole lot at once, because you can never be sure you're doing all of it, because it would have to mix around properly. So I'm just going to do it in 2 lots. Note that what we've done, we left the peel off and taken out the core. Let's put the top on and give it a go. So as we did with the bread, just to save a bit of time, we've done it in 2 batches. So there we go. It actually works extraordinarily well, this machine, for multiple things. Let's knock the bits off there. Yeah, okay. So that's it there. That's all of our apple, which has been chopped up very quick. Yeah, doing that with a grater, yes, it's a good idea, but it's a bit quicker. Okay, so what we need to do now is we mix that in. Let's add the sugar. We'll stir that in. Give it a good stir. Yep. And as soon as we've done that, we then need the currants after that. Doesn't really matter too much which one you do first. So there we go. Okay, give it a good stir. It's mixing quite nicely. So once we have that all sorted in there, because remember we'll be carrying on stirring it for the next ingredient. So what are we going to have next? We have 3 eggs. Great. So if we put the bowl behind us, and we have the 3 eggs. Interesting thought. I mean, not so many years back you could only buy brown eggs. I don't know why. I think it was this sort of feeling that having a brown egg was healthier than a white egg. Well, I'm not sure. I don't think we ate the shells, but I'm quite sure there's somebody out there who will tell me why it was that we all went for brown rather than white. But now it seems like the white eggs are coming back. So we use just a standard hand mixer for this, and just mix it up. No great deal. We don't need to sort of go mad about it. Not making an omelette or something. So that's all sorted. Right, next, what do we have? That's the egg, of course. So what we want to do is add that to the other ingredients and move away those. Put that out of the way. Right, okay, so here we go. We have our, remember that's our bread, our currants, and our sugar, and of course the apple. So let's mix that in once again, same sort of thing, but this time make sure we give it a good stir, because this is the last time we're going to be doing it. Seems to mix up quite easily. Now, interestingly enough, I was looking at the lemon, because of course we have 2 teaspoons of lemon, so we're using a machine to do it. You have a hand squeezer, that's fine. Interestingly enough, in the little Victorian book it talks about a recipe for lemon essence, as you can see here. So I was half expecting to see the same sort of thing in the Mrs. Beeton's book of household management, but in fact there wasn't. All there was a reference to the lemon itself, which really makes it quite interesting. Anyway, what we're doing is we're just now putting in 2 teaspoons of lemon juice rather than the lemon essence made as per the Victorian recipe book. And finally we put the mixture into our pudding basin. But first of all, we've almost forgotten something. Yeah, we need to butter the inside of the basin. Quick word about the basin. This one is slightly smaller than the one that we actually have mixed it up in. And what you need to do is take a bowl that actually fits inside your largest saucepan. What I also do is I like to put the bowl in first and fill it up with water, so that the water is just at the right height. This is difficult, pouring the water between the side of the bowl and the saucepan. Therefore, if one does it in advance, you simply lower the basin into the saucepan, put on the lid, and turn on the gas or electricity. Okay, so that's all of it in there. Don't squash it down too much. This is not something that some people like to make sure it's really well squashed. I don't think it necessarily needs it. So there we go. That just makes it sort of fit in there quite nicely. So what we need now, of course, is the nutmeg, which is in the little pot. It seems quite a bit, actually, a teaspoon. The flavour's great, it goes through. Some people may prefer a little less, because it does seem to be quite sort of heavy on the bottom when it comes out, but it's each their own. This is, as I say, a full teaspoonful put in this little plastic bowl, which we're using just to sprinkle it on the surface. Okay, there we go. So if we now move the bits out of the way, what we can do is pick up our cloth. Now, I generally use an old tea towel and a tie wrap. I'm sure everybody has their own ways of doing it, but this works quite well with me. Another point is that some people might like, you could try putting paper on the top. Some people like to put paper on the top first before putting in a tea towel around it. I generally don't do that, but once again, it's up to how you normally work. And same with some people use string. I remember my mother used to use string, and I used to have to put my finger on it and she'd tighten up the string around it. But I do find that the tie wrap actually works very well. I find it a quite big one. And there we have it. This in fact is a pressure cooker, or an ex-pressure cooker, because the rubber perished. So we lower it gently in there. You see, it only just fits in there, and that's why it'd be difficult pouring the water in between the sides. So no, this is no longer a pressure cooker. It just simply is a very convenient saucepan. So how long? well, we put on a low gas and reckon it's for about 3 hours. Both recipes, the little cookery book and Mrs. Beaton say that. And this is it. After 3 hours, we take the lid off, and yep, still steaming. All looks well. I didn't top it up because I kept the gas really low, but if you make it boil too much, you might have to actually top it up with water very carefully, and down the side, which you can see there wasn't very much room there. And finally, we remove the tie wrap from the top here and see what it looks like. That looks nice. So that, of course, is the nutmeg on the top, and if we look at the sides, we can see what it looks like down on the sides. Looks alright. Good. And that's it, tipped out. We'll cut a small piece out of it just so you can gauge what it looks like. My only criticism about it is it's not big enough, because one generally wants 2 helpings of it, or family does. So there we go. That's one bachelor's pudding. It's another quick look at the method and the ingredients if you want to do a quick screenshot. Thanks for watching.